Today we'll see a changing of the guard at the top of British politics when Andy Burnham becomes the 7th Prime Minister in 10 years. The outgoing leader, Sir Keir Starmer, will formally offer his resignation to King Charles, and the King will then ask Mr Burnham to form a new Labour government. Within his first speech as Prime Minister, Andy Burnham is expected to say that Britain faces a moment for honesty and reflection. In the address at Downing Street, he'll promise to restore confidence in government and argue that political stability must deliver tangible improvements in people's lives. Here's our political correspondent, Joe Pike.
His route to the peak of power is almost complete. Andy Burnham spent some of his final hours outside Downing Street jogging, while inside the secure zone, final preparations were being made for his arrival. Later, he will promise to give Britain more breathing space, likely further cost of living support, say he's acutely conscious of the high turnover of prime ministers, and argue we're at a moment of reflection and resolution.
Coming out with that clearer vision, a bolder vision, being clear that we are on the side of ordinary working people, taking on the vested and private interests where we need to do so, and redistributing power into every community. That is a vision I think people will really get behind.
As Andy Burnham's arrival approaches, opposition parties are sharpening their critiques. In a letter to the new Prime Minister, Kemi Badenoch has said, "I was disappointed by your recent comment that there was room for movement on tax and that you might ask people for a little more in tax. I urge you to rule out any new tax rises now." Reform UK are demanding a general election, while the Lib Dems have offered to work with Labour to reform social care. Today, in his speech on this street, Andy Burnham will promise to give the public breathing room, but he is unlikely to get any himself. Joe Pike, BBC News, Downing Street.
Joining me now is our correspondent, Tim Muffet. Tim, this is the day for pomp and ceremony. Tell us more about the details about this handover of power.
Well, by lunchtime today, the UK will have its 5th Prime Minister in 4 years, its 7th in the past decade. And we expect Andy Burnham to say in his speech that he is acutely conscious of the UK's high turnover of Prime Ministers and that politics needs to be more stable and responsible. But first, let's have a chat through the choreography, what we expect to happen today. Well, having spent the weekend at Chequers, the Prime Minister's country retreat in Buckinghamshire, Sir Keir Starmer will give a brief address outside of number 10 Downing Street, and we expect him to want to talk up what he sees as his achievements at home and on the world stage. Seems likely he'll mention getting immigration and NHS waiting lists in England down, lifting children out of poverty and introducing a social media ban for teenage children. He will then go to Buckingham Palace to see the King in order to formally offer his resignation as Prime Minister. Shortly after that, the King will meet Andy Burnham and the monarch will ask him to form a government. And once he has accepted, he will officially become the country's 59th Prime Minister. He will then head to Downing Street and deliver a speech outside number 10.
Indeed, we've had a few clues over the weekend as to what Andy Burnham's policy priorities will be. What more can you tell us about what's going to be in his speech today?
Well, we are expecting him to promise to give people breathing room against the cost of living. We expect him to urge the country to be honest about the challenge it faces and to call for reflection and resolution. And we also expect Andy Burnham to say that he is acutely conscious of the number of Prime Ministers there have been and that a more stable and responsible politics is needed, and to promise to restore faith in government. But looking ahead, there are some big challenges for Andy Burnham. Welfare, for example, the cost of sickness and disability benefits for people of working age is around £58 billion a year, expected to rise to £78 billion by 2030. Now, Keir Starmer had to do a U-turn on some of his proposed welfare reforms because some of his backbenchers didn't like them. Andy Burnham says he wants to get the welfare bill down, but he wants to get people into work, not through crude cuts. Energy, reports have suggested, cost of living support could include action on energy bills, including allowing more oil and gas drilling in the North Sea. Environmental campaigners have warned against that. Other issues, reforming social care, getting more young people into work, finding more money for defence, big issues. A new cabinet is expected today. Who will be doing those jobs? Chancellor, Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary. There's been speculation until now, no confirmation. But we do know that Mr Burnham is determined to move power away from Westminster. He's pledged a number 10 north in Manchester. He's already promised that And he's also committed to scrapping Sir Keir Starmer's digital ID scheme to focus money and attention elsewhere.
Lots to do, a big day ahead. Tim Muffet, thank you very much for that look ahead. And a note that my colleague Clive Myrie will be live in Downing Street for a BBC News special starting at 10 a.m. London time. You can watch around the world here on BBC News and in the UK on BBC One and on iPlayer.